20 years ago today, Hurricane Katrina devastated New Orleans, leaving behind desperation and unimaginable loss as well. Well, 2 decades later, one local musician is keeping the city's spirit alive through sound. Trumpet player Troy Sawyer rebuilt his life after the storm, and now he is inspiring others. CBS Saturday Morning co-host Michelle Miller shows us how the next generation of trumpeters is striking a new note in the Big Easy.
There's no New Orleans without music. But when Hurricane Katrina tore through the city in 2005, it tried to silence the tunes. Katrina forever changed the Crescent City. Musician Troy Sawyer has witnessed that over the last 20 years.
Before Katrina, New Orleans, soulful.
What does this anniversary mean?
That we cannot take anything for granted.
The Category 3 storm displaced more than 1 million people along the Gulf. Sawyer and his family went to Texas.
I don't like to be forced to do anything. So I was forced away from my city.
But New Orleans called him back.
So I went back home the following year after Katrina hit, and there were no gigs. It was like a cemetery. But it was all about building the city back up. So I was doing roofing jobs, I'm doing this and doing that, and I'm like, I couldn't gig. But that made me appreciate playing my trumpet also.
For Sawyer, rebuilding wasn't just about construction and cleanup. It was about being a part of the music community. With a little push from his mother in 2007, he moved into a neighborhood for musicians impacted by Katrina.
I feel like God rewarded me for staying true to my purpose and coming back to New Orleans to help rebuild. I'm so grateful and honored to be here and have my album here too.
Sawyer has remained a fixture in New Orleans' music scene, performing with his band and releasing music, teaching in schools, and now inspiring young women to play the trumpet.
1, 2, ready, play.
He started his nonprofit, Girls Play Trumpet 2, 3 years ago.
Where did this idea to really bring young women, young girls into trumpet playing come from?
I picked up the trumpet in 4th grade and was playing it throughout the years and getting better. But I didn't see any professional female trumpet players. And there was this woman named Ingrid Jensen came all the way from Canada to perform and to show me that women can play too. All right, stop. All right, we're gonna go down.
He runs a tight ship during practice.
Let me see how many people can't follow directions. Do not repeat the top note.
Calling out mistakes when he hears them. But he's also quick to offer praise when the music is just right.
All right, good job.
The group has played all over Louisiana.
I like playing the trumpet because it's very musical and powerful.
10-year-old Hazley Shelley is one of the beginner trumpet players, only picking up the instrument 2 years ago.
I was just tired of all the basic things, like ballet, drums. I was like, there was only one instrument I was looking for, a trumpet.
I constantly remind them when they play that trumpet, they have to have the confidence to speak through that trumpet.
I need to play the trumpet.
Yeah, you need to play.
No, for real, need to.
What are you feeling in the moment of playing?
Strength.
I'm just blown away every time I hear them play. And it keeps me motivated to keep this going because girls play trumpets too all over the world.
Troy Sawyer is making sure the sound of music keeps swinging in the Big Easy tradition.
Rebuilding my city is more than just rebuilding houses and getting on the roof. It's doing the work to keep our music and our culture going. And so that's a part of the rebuilding process, and that's why I came back to New Orleans.
Keep in mind, Troy Sawyer got his footing because he was able to buy affordable housing in a program in the lower Ninth Ward. That effort made possible by Harry Connick Jr. and Branford Marsalis because they saw the need for musicians and artists to return. They saw the need for culture. 20 years ago, I was sent to Houston, one of the places where, all of these people were evacuated. 100,000 people have not returned. They're all over the country.
Yeah, that's what Spike was saying.
Spike was saying that. It's just, it's a testament to opportunity elsewhere, but the folks who have returned, they're making a difference and they're putting a dent, and we have to commend them.
All right, Michelle, thank you so much.
6 months ago today, the very powerful Hurricane Helene stalled over the southeastern United States, dumping huge amounts of rain, remember this video, and causing devastating flooding and damage in much of western North Carolina. The deadly storm washed away people's homes and all their cherished belongings. Skylar Henry returned to the hard-hit city of Asheville to see how the survivors are doing now.
Uprooted trees and wreckage still line the Shenandoah River in Asheville, North Carolina. It serves as a painful snapshot of Helene's fury.
Holy.
6 months ago, rushing floodwaters washed away homes that once stood feet away from the river. Among the debris, these photos in Taylor Shanker's office. She first spotted them during a walk checking out the damage, so she began collecting them, and after a while started looking for more.
For me, that's one thing that I could do to help, was to go and walk these riverbanks and see if I could find any more photos and then share them online.
Now the photos are mostly all dry.
Determined to return them, she cleaned what she could and then posted the pictures on social media on a profile she called Photos from Helene, so people could claim them.
How many do you think you've found?
Oh, there's like well into 600 photos. And now I have reunited almost 80, which is really exciting.
Mud-caked photos are of babies, weddings, birthday parties, pets, and school portraits.
This is the bag of photos that Mary has recently found.
Mary is Mary Moss. Some of the pictures Shanker collected belong to Moss.
And then that's her son, Dallas.
And she's still finding Moss's photos.
So this is the steps to my house.
Floodwaters swept away her family home and everything inside. They lived there for 40 years.
I come bearing gifts. How are you?
Right.
Look at that. This is nice to meet you.
Shanker has reunited nearly 40 photos with Moss.
That's my baby Dallas.
Oh, man.
Oh, gosh.
Like thousands of people in western North Carolina, life looks nothing like it did before the storm.
You sit there and watch everything you own go down the river, but the only thought is those memories and those things that you can't replace.
Moss and her family are one of the more than 150,000 receiving help from FEMA. The storm caused tens of billions of dollars worth of damage. Officials say it'll take years to fully bounce back.
What's it been like for you guys in the months since all of this?
Unreal. We're trying to take one day at a time.
The road to recovery is long for Moss as well, but she's grateful for the treasure trove Shanker has found for her.
The river couldn't take my memories, but it sure as heck took all the things that, I treasure the most.
And with hundreds of photographs still unclaimed, Shanker says she's continuing the project until many of the photos find their way back home.
I feel like it's such a privilege to be able to give people back these memories. And so to be able to sit with them in their grief and just say, I'm so glad that you made it, has been really special to have that moment with people.
For CBS Mornings, I'm Skylar Henry in Asheville, North Carolina.
We are the children of the ones who did not die.
A solemn ceremony in New Orleans to mark 20 years since Hurricane Katrina made landfall. Hundreds gathered Friday at the Industrial Canal Wall, which ruptured back in 2005, inundating the city's lower Ninth Ward. The storm claimed more than 1,400 lives in New Orleans, flooded 80% of the city, and scattered over 1 million people along the Gulf Coast across the nation. It's cost more than $200 billion, thanks to breaches glitches in the city's levee protection system, failures that ultimately informed officials on how to better prepare for natural disasters. For New Orleans itself, Hurricane Katrina has become a true testament of grit. And while 100,000 people never returned, those that did are determined to keep striving.
When we started this project in 2017, it was full of tallow trees and trash.
Non-native.
Non-native. This is a part of our neighborhood restoration and planning efforts.
Rashida Ferdinand is a bona fide conservationist.
And so we replanted this area with native cypress and bald cypress and tupelo trees.
Not just native plants, but wildlife too.
In this area, we've seen a 200% increase in bird species. So we have about 80 different types of bird species living here.
An added benefit to an area that for a long time didn't fulfill its potential as a buffer to storms and hurricanes.
The non-native trees don't create a healthy root system. They don't create what's needed for the anchorage, and they don't have the anchorage of the soil, and they don't have the longevity. So we're creating this healthy ecosystem that does create a buffer.
The we in this case is Sankofa, an organization of volunteers named after a mythical bird from Ghana, known for looking behind itself while continuing to move forward.
We felt inspired to do something and to build our community back and build it back better than it was.
On Ferdinand's porch, a community of Lower Ninth Ward residents joined forces, eager to find solutions to the lingering issues left behind by Katrina.
We looked through this lens of public health and environmental justice. Mortality rates, chronic disease rates, food, income, having employment. We look at those and decide what programs we need to bring to the fold in order to address those barriers.
20 years ago, Ferdinand was building an art career, had bought a home on the same street as 3 generations of her family had done before. Then the storm forced her to evacuate to Atlanta.
Earlier that day, I was actually with some friends at a park festival, and it still wasn't resonating to us that we needed to leave.
She returned 6 months later to a house that fared better than most.
What was your reaction when you saw your home?
It was a numbness because so much had happened. The neighborhood looked devastated. And I also felt very, very fortunate, very grateful that I had a house, that I had my life. I was safe. I had family.
A family who already knew what it takes to survive.
Falling trees are knocking out telephone lines all over town.
That's because 60 years ago, both her parents lived through Hurricane Betsy.
Roaring across the Industrial Canal into the southeast section of New Orleans.
A Category 4 storm that also wreaked havoc on the lower 9.
In Betsy's wake, there's only darkness, confusion, and death.
My father's family were on the roof for 3 days. And my grandmother wrote a 16-page letter about that ordeal, which it's a testament of beauty and hope and resilience and power. That's a sickening sight, your furniture floating in your own home.
Her grandmother's letter was among the papers Ferdinand saved before she evacuated.
A child whimpered, but no one cried out or panicked. It ended with service. It ended with saying, we have each other and we have our community and we're going to do something about that.
Those words provided hope and inspiration that she could do it too.
So we pitched an idea for using this open space as a place for food access.
So this is like the main drag in the lower 9.
Yeah, this is the St. Claude Avenue corridor. It's a historic commercial corridor in the neighborhood.
And the perfect spot to create the Fresh Start Market, a permanent version of the open air space that started it all in a community considered a food desert.
It's a green grocery store. We started this to bring fresh produce into the neighborhood, and it opened last year, September of 2024.
Dr. Lakeisha Williams is not just a customer. She also runs Xavier University's community engagement for minority health research and education.
20 years later, here we are, still seeing a community that is in that process of still trying to see what's next.
At one point, local leaders considered plans to shrink the footprint of the city, which would have green spaced the lower Ninth Ward. further upsetting generations of homeowners that were already struggling to get back.
We had enemies who want to keep us out of here. The smaller footprint means you don't want my mama back. You don't want my grandkids back.
I was a homeowner. 35 years I worked to pay for the property that I own, plus my rentals.
Roughly 65% of the lower Nine's population never returned. That's about 10,000 residents.
So those people who did come back, what are they shouldering?
Gosh, they're shouldering each other. Everybody came together and said, hey, enough is enough. We're going to make sure that we pull our resources together. Even if nobody else wants to pull those resources into our community, we're going to do what we need to do to make sure that we come back even more and strong.
So are these cypress trees new?
Fairly new. They're about 20 years old.
Whether it's in a food market or in this park, Rashida Ferdinand's goal is simple: to nourish her community, whether it's the land, the people, or their minds.
It gives people a feeling of hope. We have STEM education classes where children come with their teachers and they learn about ecosystems, they learn about how our biological systems work. It's an opportunity to build future climate specialists, engineers, grounds maintenance professionals, people who understand the importance of our native landscape, and just understand how being in a nature-based space is a normal part of our life and should be.
That project and so many others that Rashida has embarked upon is helping not just the lower Nine, but the city as a whole, as a buffer, as a way to create more community, more neighborhood unity, because that's a community that really did not get what it deserved in the comeback and recovery.
A meaningful mission, a meaningful story,
Thank
Michelle.
you.
Absolutely.